Before I did Killing Them Softly, when I was 22, HBO gave me the biggest opportunity of my life at that time. They gave me a half-hour special. I shot it at a place called Broadway Studios, which is on the second floor of a building. And beneath Broadway Studios is a nightclub. And the night that I taped, 20 minutes into my 30-minute set, music started blasting from the nightclub underneath. You could hear it real loud, and it f***ed my whole show up, and I was devastated. And I thought that my dream had been killed. When I got off stage, I ran down the steps to the alley behind Broadway Studios, and I started yelling at all the producers. I was nobody in show business, just a guy that believed in us. I said, man, guess you f***ed everything up. That music, what the f*** were you thinking? And there was a guy who was a big-time producer, I ain't saying no names, and he stood up, and he said, hey, kid, sit the f*** down. Said, we didn't ruin anything. We made a deal with that nightclub to not play music, and they didn't honor the deal. And I said, who didn't honor the deal? And he pointed to a guy. It was an old white man sitting in the Ford Taurus by himself. And he said, that guy right there. And I didn't waste no time or ask no questions. I went to that Ford Taurus and I beat on that window and I said, open the door, mother. I want to talk to you. And that old man looked at me for 1 second and wisely drove the f off. And 2 minutes later, the doors of the kitchen in the alley of that nightclub underneath Broadway Studios flung open. And that old man was standing there, that same old man with reinforcements. He had 2 big goons with him, and he looked at me, and he was calm as a cucumber. He said, you, come here, I want to talk to you. And I found out later in my life that these men were Russian mobsters. And I don't know what you guys know about the Russian mob, but these are the niggas that killed Denzel in Training Day. And I believed in what I was doing, and I didn't give a f***. Just kept cussing at these mothers, telling them how they ruined my life. That old man couldn't believe that I was talking all of this shit. As soon as I took a breath, he stopped me gently. He said, hey, kid, listen, your friends lied to you. We made a deal. Your friends never paid me. When he said that, I realized I was locked in the kitchen. I realized he was telling the truth, which would make me wrong. And the moment that I realized I was wrong for the first time, I was afraid. You see, it's a funny thing if you believe you're absolutely right. You can get drunk off the feeling of how right you are. That's why gay people are so mean. I was scared, but I didn't buckle. I said, well then, sir, I owe you an apology. But I believe that no matter what reason that music was playing, it ruined my life. And that old man looked at me with sympathy in his eyes. He walked over to me and he gently placed his hand on my cheek, which I gotta tell you, is a very emasculating thing to do. I was standing there looking at this nigga's hand on my cheek like, and he said, you are a real man. He tapped me on my cheek. Real soft. Just like that. The doors opened back up. The light from the alley flooded into the kitchen. And I just walked out alive. I lived to fight another day.